agnostic?
I still I'm not gonna ever say that. Maybe one day in life, right, I might end up following a religion. I don't know. I don't know what the future beholds. You know what I mean? But at the moment, I'd say I'm an atheist because I haven't found a God that I believe in. But I just chill out, and if it ever takes me down that route, then maybe I meet a girl or like anything you have. Then yeah, that's why I class myself as an atheist because I like to hear about other people's cultures and the way that they live and why.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I haven't seen it. Like, I've never experienced anything that has put me down that route. So I just see good and bad people. Like, that's all I see.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then, right? How do you think the world was created? Do you think that the world's always been here from the beginning of time, or do you think it came into creation?
Well, in my eyes, it's like, I don't know, it's just never bothered me. Like, I haven't been around for that many years. I'm never going to know. Like, we'll never actually know.
You've got
unless we get really, really, really good technology.
You've got a good brain in your head, yeah? You're a smart guy, yeah? So, this world that we live on,
I would just say, like, there's so many planets, right? So I know that there's other living forms on different planets. There's no way that there's not at least one planet with the living form on it, right?
Doesn't oppose that.
But whether who made me...
Islam doesn't oppose that. So in Islam, we will accept the fact that there could well be creations on other planets. We accept that. It could be. We won't deny that. You know?
Yeah. But so I would just say that I don't know. Like, I wouldn't know how our planet was made.
But you accept
because it might have been made from another planet. Huh?
But you accept it was made, or are you not sure?
100%. You can't just have something just exist out of nothing. Something has to meet it, but then someone has to make that, and it's just a whole cycle, which just confuses your brain, and you can't hack that. Because unless you have a belief or whatever, you can't understand it. Your head can't get around it.
You're trying to overwhelm yourself, Owen, right? So just come step by step with me, yeah? So if you accept, yeah, that this world was created by something, right? Then there must be a creator to it. Like you said, it can't come into existence by itself. So we agree there's a creator to this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a creator to this world, which we both agree upon, yeah, then there's some characteristics that we can assign to that creator. Even though we know nothing about the creator, yeah, we know nothing at this stage, me and you, in this conversation, we know nothing about the creator. But we can utilize our brains, yeah, to say, well, the creator must have been very powerful to be able to create this world, because you couldn't create this world without power. Agree?
100,
yeah. And then, like, when you look at like the creation, yeah, when you look at us as individuals and the creation as a whole, yeah, like the changing of the day to night, the changing of the seasons, which allow the crops to grow, yeah. You look at us, our eyelids, so that we can sleep, our eyebrows to stop the salt going in our eyes because it would blind us, you know, our elbows so that we can give and take, you know, the fact that our nose is above our mouth and not near our feet or our bum, yeah. All of this shows that the creator must have been very wise as well, yeah. So, and not only that, right? You look at the sea, yeah. There's two types of water, right? There's fresh water and sea and salt. Sea, yeah. There's certain types of animals that can survive in fresh water that wouldn't survive in the salt water, yeah. So, due to the mercy of the Creator, He made both seas and placed each creation in the right sea, yeah, for His mercy. Otherwise, if you took an animal that's used to fresh water into salt water, it would die. Yeah. So
100%. Yeah, that's just like if we went into space without oxygen, right?
That's right. So already, right, without knowing anything about the Creator, we've already assigned three characteristics to Him. Yeah. Powerful, wise, and merciful. Yeah. Now, when we look at us, everything on our body has a purpose. Yeah. Our elbows have a purpose, our nose has a purpose, our eyes have everything has a purpose. And
yeah, 100, yeah.
Well, everything has a purpose. Yeah, the trees give out oxygen. You know, everything has a purpose. So, if everything that we can observe has a purpose, it makes sense that we as a whole have a purpose too, right? Like logically.
Nah, because I feel like because all of our body parts have a purpose. In my eyes, I just see as me as a person and other people like we're here. We don't know what happens realistically. Like we can believe, and we might have witnessed stuff, but when it comes like down to facts, we're just here, and it's up to you to reproduce. It's up to you to do what you want in life.
If I
Because
if I give you a book, right, and it was a math, and it was an algebra book, you've never looked at maths before, right? You haven't even done your times table, and I gave you a book
yeah,
of
yeah,
algebra.
yeah.
Are you going to be able to comprehend that book of algebra?
Well, obviously not. No.
So what you're doing is you're trying to look at all the way over here. Let us go step by step. Yeah. Don't
Mhm.
don't try and jump too far ahead, because when you jump too far ahead and you start looking too far, you overwhelm yourself and your brain can't comprehend it, right? So at the moment, we've established that there's a creator, that the creator is wise, merciful, and powerful, right? We've
I
also
don't know if there's one creator though. That's where I get mixed up.
okay.
Because
Well, if,
so, could you see in yourself that you could create a whole world, even if you're wise and merciful and powerful? I just like even the most powerful people that have lived on this world. Could you see they could create a whole world and do what he did?
no,
That's where I think, is there more of them, and was there a group of them that helped each other to design it? Because one person, it's hard to get your head through that he made all these planets and all this living life form and did all of this just by himself.
well that just shows that a man could not do it, and that shows that the one who created us can't be a man. Yeah. So the one that created us
Mm-hmm.
is not a man, so we can't. Uh, man could never create it. But let me explain one thing. If I had a bit of paper here, yeah, and me, you, and five others made a painting, and we drew a picture and painted it, right? We would be able to see
Mm-hmm.
what you painted, what I painted, and what they painted. We're all going to have different standards of painting. Yeah? So it'd be very obvious
Mm-hmm.
looking at the picture. Hold on, that's painted by five people with all different abilities, right? But when we look
Yeah.
at the Earth, everything works in perfect harmony. The changing of the night, the changing of the seasons. If there was multiple gods, there would be clashes within it. Everything wouldn't run so
Yeah.
smoothly. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Big up Abraham. Big up Andrew.
when we look at the world, yeah, we can determine, because everything works so in sync, that there can only be one creator logically. You know? It's all very logical when you break it down step by step. Yeah, it's very logical. Islam goes in line with your natural inclination. In Islam, we call it a fitra. Yeah, so your fitra, God put inside
Yeah.
you. Yeah, God put this fitra inside of you, so that when you hear this stuff, it makes sense to you, right?
So when you say there's only one creator, right? This is how I'm seeing it though. So in our world, right, we've got. So I'm saying this is a man. I can't see what a god's like, so I'm just gonna use a terminology as a man. We have a builder, right, and then we'll have a plumber, then we'll have an electrician, right? So kind of how I see it, if there were a god, then wouldn't there be somebody that made the sea and did the features of that, somebody that made human and did the features of that and creatures, somebody that made like, because that's kind of like building a house. There's like different people for different parts of the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no,
they do different jobs.
I understand that, but like I said, we are when we look right, like what you're doing, you're jumping again, right? So if we went through it logically, step by step. Yeah, we agreed that whether it's one or many. Yeah, at this stage, let's accept that it could be one or many, right? So as we go through it, yeah, logically, it makes sense that there's a creator. It makes sense that the creator has these characteristics. It makes sense that we have a purpose, because everything that we can see has a purpose, right? So logically, if we have a purpose and we have a very powerful and wise creator, then it makes sense for that creator to tell us what our purpose is. It doesn't make sense to have a very wise creator who created us for a purpose without him telling us what our purpose is.
Right. So what would you say your purpose is?
Well, what I say my purpose is I look at the because God is wise and merciful, He chose prophets and messengers that walked amongst us, so that He could convey to us how we came to be and what we need to do to please Him, what our purpose is. So when I look at the prophets and messengers, the final prophet was Muhammad. So when I look at Muhammad, first thing I need to do is I need to establish if he's a real prophet or not, because he could be a liar, you know. Now, if someone is claiming to be a messenger of God, right, then they're one of two things, yeah? they're either the biggest liar or they're the most truthful person. There's no in between. Yeah?
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah.
when we look at the life of the prophet, if you are lying and you're saying that you're a messenger of God, what would be your reason for doing that? Like, think about your perspective. What would be your reason for saying I'm a messenger of God?
To spread the word and
Yeah,
promote
but
it in a
liar.
good
But if
way
you're
so
a
people
liar,
know who made it.
but if you're a liar though,
If I'm a liar,
yeah,
um, to destroy everybody's thoughts of religion, to stop conflict.
or to benefit yourself, right? For wealth.
Yeah, I guess it could help yourself depending on who you are and what you're trying to do. But yeah.
So either to destroy mankind and destroy civilization, yeah, or for your own
Hmm.
personal gain, right? Now, before the Prophet Muhammad was sent to um, Arabia, yeah, the Arabian Peninsula, they used to burn little girls alive if they were born because girls were seen as a burden because they couldn't go out to work. Islam come and said you can't
Right.
do that. Yeah. Before Islam come, there was no rights to women. Yeah, you didn't have to marry them. You could sleep around. You know, like there was no rules and regulations. Islam come and said you must respect the women. You must treat them well. You know, and it put a limit. Before Islam, you could marry as many women as you wanted, and Islam come and put a limit on that. So when you look at the legislations that came, all of them doesn't go in line with someone who's trying to destroy.
Can we just pause this? Pause this. Wait. How can you not be religious if you believe in you believe Jesus is God, guys? I never said none of that. I never said that. I
He's
don't
not.
believe in anything at the moment.
He's not. Leave it
So
alone.
anyway, carry on. I just don't
Yeah, no,
want people saying
no,
that.
you're always going to get little people in your comment section, bro. But
Mm,
if we look at the rules and regulations that it's come with, yeah, it was definitely better for mankind. Yeah, it definitely
yeah.
improved the society that it came to. So it can't be the first one. So let's look at the second one. Was it for his own personal gain? Yeah. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he he was not a rich man. You know, there was times when he would go without food for a long time. Let me tell you a story, right? So there was an eclipse, yeah, on the day that the prophet's son died, yeah. Now, when the prophets, his companions saw this, yeah, they went to him and they said, "Look, today your son died, and there's an eclipse. This is a message that this is a sign from God that He's angry." The prophet said, "No, this is not a sign from God. He said, this is nothing to do with my son's death. It's a sign from your Lord. When you see it, rush to prayer." Now, do you know who Christopher Columbus is?
Yeah, he's the one that went to the Tutankhamun
He,
Egyptian thing, isn't
no, he discovered America. I'm not sure if he
he? He discovered the and he the one that also discovered the Tutankhamun
possibly that
um
much about him to say yes or no with that. All I know is that when he went and discovered America, there was an eclipse, right? And he utilized that opportunity to enslave the people. God is angry with you. You must all obey me. You know? So when we look at the characteristics of the prophet and we look at the characteristics of people who are trying to use things for their own personal gain, again, it doesn't go in line with that. And that's just one of many, many stories. When you look at the life of the prophet, there's so many stories. I'll give you another story. This was a powerful one, right? So when he was being oppressed, when he was in Saudi Arabia, him and his companions, there wasn't that many of them at the time, right? And he was being oppressed. They wanted to kill him because they wanted to stop him preaching the word of God. He received a revelation
right.
from God which assured him he could not die until the revelation was revealed. So he turned around to his companions and said, I've been promised that I can't die. All of you leave me alone. You can all leave me. I'm safe here on my own. Now, if he was lying and there wasn't a revelation from God, would he have told all the people to go and leave him and that he was safe in a place where he was being oppressed?
Well, it depends. Like again, that could be a mental side of thing though, because obviously in our world, as he was human, I'm guessing the Muhammad,
Yes.
the prophet, he was human. Then even as a human, you can have some sort of either mental health, so maybe he had a little bit of an illusion. You don't know, like if nobody else saw it and he's the only the person that saw it, then
Yeah.
in the fact of a human mind, it could have been all a delusion to him.
That's a fair point. So what we do with that, right? We look at the other prophets and messengers that came. Yeah, we look at Jesus. We look at Moses. We look at Ibrahim. We look at all of the prophets and messengers. Now, none of them met each
Mhm.
other. None of them. Yeah, there was hundreds, sometimes thousands of years between them, but they all came with the same message. They all come and said, worship one God, associate no partners with him. There will be a day of judgment, and you will all be judged for your sins, and you will all go to either heaven or hell. What are the chances of these people who all walked the earth at completely different times? None of them had internet access. Yeah, this is all thousands and thousands of years ago. What is the chances of all of them having the same message?
Right, it's quite low chances, I guess. How many were
Impossible.
there? About 7.
Impossible.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I mean,
Maybe
they could be coincidental.
maybe two might be a coincidence. Yeah, but 10.
And all of these that were wrote, right? All of these books that were wrote, like the Quran, the Bible, and everything. What is the date put on all ones? Because how did they know that they didn't write all right at the same time to stop humans believing, stop humans being scared of passing away?
Well, let's see. So, Islam, we can track Islam, the Quran, back to 1400 years ago. Okay, the way we can do that is through chains of narration. Yeah, so the chain of narration that we have, the Prophet received the revelation. Yeah, he spoke the revelation to his companions. They wrote it down. They entrusted it to their students. They entrusted it to their students, and we've got a chain of narration that goes from today all the way back to the Prophet. Then we can look at the Torah. The Torah, which is the Dead Sea Scrolls, which date back to 1,000 years before that. You know? So there are ways that we can determine that these books didn't all come from the same place at the same time.
Pardon?
There are ways that we can determine by looking at that they can't have all come at the same time. That makes sense?
We could try our best, yeah, 100%, but it's hard to date back to that time.
Look, for someone who is just hearing this from me for the first time, it can be very hard to believe, you know. But if you study it and you look into it yourself,
Hmm.
you'll see, you'll see it. Because all of the people,
So what I've seen though, against religion, like, this is why I was like, obviously I never decided to find a belief because I said to myself, right, so ages and ages ago, right, we were all probably scared of, like, passing away like anybody else has in their head as we're human. Not only that, at the time we were quite evil towards one another. So if we could have got that out to people, it built up a community. So people went to church or they went to a mosque or whatever, and it built up a community working together, right, believing on the same thing.
yeah,
And at the same time, especially in like some Christian faiths, they were saying, oh yeah, if you buy this and it will get you up to heaven, right? Like the iconology side of things. So that was money towards the economy. So like in my eyes, that's like 3 reasons why religion, I would never say, is a bad thing. People have made it bad over time by causing conflicts with each other because they got so into their belief. But in my eyes, like, I would say that religion was always a good thing, whether true or not, because it got people together
yeah,
and it did cause a community so people could actually
yeah,
start to like one another without
yeah.
having to
Well, I'll tell you what
fight.
one more thing, right, is when God chose his messengers, right, he had to give them things to separate them from the rest of mankind. Yeah. So what he gave them was miracles, and he gave them proofs and prophecies. Okay. So some of the prophecies that the Prophet Muhammad came with, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah. One, he said they will, and you've got to bear in mind, right? This is 1400 years ago. This was said, yeah. One of the prophecies was there will come a time when you can wake up in the morning, yeah, and you can make up a lie, and in the same day it was spread far east, far west. So 1400 years ago, there was no technology, there was absolutely nothing for anyone to utilize as a reason to say that this was possible. This was in a time when it would take you 4 days to ride from London to Cardiff. So how a man 1400 years ago knew there would come a time when you could make up a lie in the morning, and the lie would reach far east, far west same day. Look what we have now, social media. I can open up my phone, make up a lie, post it, and it can go viral over the whole world in the same day. Now, that's just one of the prophecies. There's hundreds of them. Now, if he was a liar, he would have got some of the prophecies wrong, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So there you go. Like, I'll give you another one, right? He said, like, and this was in the Arabian Peninsula 1400 years ago when they were using camels, right? Camels were like you was very well off if you had a camel. You know, camels had quite a high status. You know, and he said there will come a time when the barefoot Arab man will stop using the camel as a riding beast, and a box will carry them from their house to the mosque. Yeah. Now, obviously, he
Right.
would not went into detail and said a Mercedes car, but what is that box that can carry you without being pulled by an animal? Car, right?
Right. Yeah, it'll be a car, yeah.
And bro, like I said, there's so many of these prophecies. They have all come to pass. I'll give you another one, right? There will come a time when women will go out fully dressed but naked at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, but have you not thought of this one?
Look at today, the women walking around in bikinis, women walking around in tight clothing. You can see absolutely everything. Although they're fully dressed, it's like they're naked at the same time.
Yeah, but there's one thing that I've looked at, and that was the whole. I spoke to a Muslim, and he was like a Muslim teacher at school, and obviously I'm straight personally, but there was obviously people in his life and my life that I'm sure did have other gender sexualities or whatever, and he said to me, he would vomit if he saw two men holding hands. And that's when that's why I questioned it. I was like, Muslims supposed to be about respecting others and their choices in life and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if they see two men holding hands or like two women or whatever, then they see that as a bad thing. That's where it bothers me.
Islam is perfect. Muslims are not. Okay, I can't defend the actions of Muslims. Okay, now in regards to the homosexuality thing, what would happen, Owen? Right, if today every man decided he was going to be with a man, and every woman decided she was going to be with a woman, how many generations would it take for mankind to stop existing?
But obviously, when the girls have been pregnant, but then it's their choice
No, it's their choice.
to carry on from there. Like,
It's their choice.
but
Owen, it's their choice. But what I'm saying is, if every man walking the earth today decided to only have sex with men, and every woman decided to only have sex with women, we would end in this generation. Within 100 years, mankind would be not in existence anymore, right? Correct?
yeah, 100%.
So that's why it's a sin. That's why it was.
Mm-hmm.
But in Islam, we're taught to hate the sin, not the sinner. You know, so I can't defend.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit wrong, like the whole. I just thought it was a bit wrong, like the way he said it, like he would vomit and stuff. It's like
Yeah,
that's their life choice. If they're not Muslim or they don't follow that religion,
he shouldn't.
then I think it is their choice. And I'm straight saying that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not because I'm offended by it personally, but I'm thinking of other people because I
Listen,
have to as a social media influencer. Like,
we
you have to.
we all have free will. Yeah. We all have the free will to make the choices we want, but remember, Islam come to preserve mankind. So anything that could stop mankind
Mm-hmm.
existing is forbidden. And you just agreed that if everyone done that, mankind would end within 100 years, right?
Yeah. So, do you think people have took the Quran and maybe took it a different way compared to what it's meant to mean?
Yeah, look.
So you know that it's because to stop.
Look what ISIS do. They're not,
Yeah.
they do what they do. They say they're doing it in the name of Islam, but that's nothing to do with Islam. I can guarantee you now. Of course, there are going to be people who misunderstand it, misrepresent it. Of course, bro. Of course, like I said, Islam is perfect. Muslims are not. I can't defend the actions of some Muslims. I can defend what Islam says because Islam came to preserve mankind. It came to preserve their wealth. You know, that's why in Islam, gambling's forbidden. Yeah? What happens when people gamble, Owen?
Yeah. Well, it causes even arguments. It can cause fatalities, and it can also cause midlife trauma. Like, you don't know what happens.
People can lose their homes through gambling. Yeah, kids can be. Yeah, so that's why gambling is forbidden. What happens when people alcohol, Owen?
Why it takes a different side of you.
Huh? Like it causes big like.
It takes out a side that you don't.
How
Some people don't like.
do you know how much money the NHS spends every year dealing with alcohol abuse?
Probably like 30 million.
I think 2 billion. I think it is 2 billion a year
What, in just England?
in just the UK, right? With alcohol.
That's crazy.
That's why alcohol is forbidden. You know, we've already discussed homosexuality, and we know why that's forbidden. You know, and that's why sex outside of marriage is forbidden. Because look at the society we live in now. Yeah? How much of that is because kids don't have a father, kids don't have a role model. You know, so it came to protect your
A
lineage.
lot of
It came
it,
to
a lot of
protect
it
your
is
health.
quite corrupt.
It came to protect your wealth. It came to protect your lineage. Islam came to preserve mankind. Alhamdulillah.
Mm-hmm.
No?
So what is your thoughts when it comes to like, what about music? So they say that you're not allowed music because it can. I
Yeah.
don't know what the music thing was because it's not good for like in Islam country where it's most prominent towards that religion. They say that music is bad. Why is music bad? That's what
Okay.
I didn't get either.
So music is forbidden. I'll tell you the story, right? The story of life. So there was two brothers. Okay. Both of these brothers, like this is like thousands of years ago, right? So the two brothers, they was in different villages, right? One of the villages, they started Satan came and introduced them to the flute and the drum, right? It's like banging the drum, blowing a flute. Now, when people heard this, they started to move around and dance. Yeah, when they was moving around and dancing, they started to like sexualize it, and they started to commit fornication. They started to like have sex, and it changed the way they was thinking. So when you're listening to music, you can't be remembering God at the same time. Yeah. So anything
No.
that takes you away from the remembrance of God is forbidden. No. And not only
But
that,
wouldn't you say that's quite
look at the music.
selfish though?
Look at the music
Like
of today.
if
Look at the music of today. What do they speak about in music?
yeah, grime
Guns,
is disgusting, but I'm talking
drugs,
like about
sex.
100 years ago.
Huh?
Like people like Queen and like even like what about what's it called, opera, stuff like that. I don't get how opera would be
Yeah.
bad because it's a form of music, but like
But look,
you sit down, you're chilled, you're not dancing.
if one person decides to be homosexual, it won't end mankind, will it? So one type of music might not be that bad, but Islam can't, like, it just comes and says, look, this in general, in its totality, is not good for you. You know, so avoid it. You know,
Do you
there's some
listen to music though?
me. I do. You know, I'm not perfect, bro. I still listen to music. I try not to now. I try to listen to the Quran more because when I'm listening to the Quran, this is like I believe this is the word of God. So while I'm listening to the word of God, I am not thinking about sex. I am not thinking about drugs. I am not thinking about alcohol, and it's very difficult for me to do a sin while I'm listening to that.
Do you watch? Do you listen to the Quran in English though?
No, I listen to it in Arabic. I read it in English, and if I sometimes I might listen to it very rarely in English just because I want to understand it more because I'm not an Arabic speaker. But 90% of the time,
Thank
when I
you, Dad.
listen to it,
Thank you.
I listen to it in. Make
No, I
sense?
understand that. Hmm?
Make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I get that. I get that. But
So,
do you not struggle though? Like, how much of the Arabic do you know, or do you just listen to it because you can kind of have a feel about what you're saying instead of actually listening to it word
okay,
by word?
so
Because it's very hard to understand the language you don't know.
it's very hard to understand. But when I recite the Quran, the peace I feel in my heart is basically right. The Quran is a miracle from God, right? The Quran says it has been made easy to be memorized. I have memorized 12 chapters of this book off the top of my head. I cannot speak a word of Arabic apart from Salam Alaikum. Yeah, I couldn't understand. I couldn't have one conversation in Arabic, but I can recite 12 chapters off the top of my head right now without even reading the book.
So could you do one chapter right now?
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
I rate that. I rate that. Big up, guys. What's that? Mashallah. That's what it means. Mashallah. There we are.
This is how I know it comes from Allah. And when I'm sitting there and I'm reciting this book, the Quran was given to us as a mercy from God, right? The Quran is a cure for depression. If you're depressed, you recite the Quran, and it will fill your heart with joy and pleasure. You know, anyone who's depressed, any Muslim who's depressed, I know they're distant from Islam. Like, we can feel bad sometimes, of course, yeah. But the loneliness and depression comes from being distant from your Creator. And I know, Owen, because I wasn't Muslim for 30 years. All of us have a hole here. You have a hole here too. You don't have to admit it, but all of us have a hole here. I tried to fill the hole with women. I tried to fill the hole with drugs. I tried to fill the hole with money, and none of it made me happy. You come into my life when I'm reciting Quran and see my face and tell me I'm not completely at peace in that moment.
Aren't you not supposed to show it on live though? Isn't it something that you're supposed to keep private?
Oh no! In fact, the opposite. Every single person who listens to me, I get a good deed for it. It's encouraged.
So what do they say is supposed to be like? They say do your good deeds on the private.
Pardon?
Like, you're not supposed to do good deeds publicly. So let's say you were to give to a homeless man, then you wouldn't do that publicly, right? Is that what it is like?
I mean, I'm not too sure if it's forbidden to do it, but me personally, like, look, the two things we need for our good deeds to be accepted, right? One, we have to do it purely and solely for God. Now, if I'm doing it with a camera in my hand, am I really doing it for God?
Well, nah, not if you're videoing it just for the exposure of your account, not.
So it's probably best not to. But if like, I can't tell you what everyone's intention is. Maybe there are some people out there who genuinely do it for God and they film at the same time. Me personally, you will never see me post a video of the charity work I do. I do a lot of charity work. Alhamdulillah, I do. But I don't post it. I keep that private.
Is that like a Muslim thing? Charity work?
No, so basically in Islam's based on 5 pillars, yeah? The first pillar of Islam is the Shahada, yeah, which is you testify that you believe in God, right? That's the first pillar, and you testify that the Prophet Muhammad was the final messenger. So as a Muslim, we have to believe in Jesus, we have to believe in Moses, we have to believe in all of the prophets and messengers, okay? That's the first pillar. The second pillar is your prayer, your act of worship, yeah, being grateful to your Creator. The third pillar is the zakat, is the charity. So charity is a whole pillar in Islam. Now, in Islam, right, we have to give charity, and there's an amount we have to give that's dependent on how much money we have. And guess what, Owen, right? If every single person in this world was Muslim and they gave to charity, there would be no such thing as poverty. No one would go without food. The whole world would have enough. God put enough food on this earth for us to all eat and live nice. But men are greedy. They take for themselves. There's men out there, they have 10 houses, 7 bedrooms each. What do you need 10 houses for
And
7
women.
bedrooms?
And women.
You know?
Yeah, I would say women are greedy just as bad. I wouldn't
Oh,
nowadays society. Now
when
we're
I,
in 2022. Women could just be as
well,
rich as a man.
when I say man, I mean mankind. Not men, I mean mankind when I say men.
Oh right, all right. And you said there's 6 on a video though. You said there's 6 pillars. You've gone through 2,
Oh,
but you told somebody there's 6, and you've said 5.
so what we have is we have 5 pillars of Islam, yeah, which is five. Islam means submitting to your Lord in a way that pleases Him, yeah. The
Thank you,
five
sir. I'm gonna
pillars,
drop your phone.
the 5 pillars are outward actions. Yeah? Things that you do. So you say the Shahada, you do your prayer, you physically, you pay the zakat, you fast Ramadan, you go to Hajj. Then the 6 pillars of Iman are inward beliefs that you must have. Yeah. So the inward beliefs you must have is you must believe that there is one God, Allah. Yeah. You must believe in His angels because His angels gave the revelation to the messengers. Yeah. You must believe in His books because we believe all the messengers were given books. You must believe in the day of judgment, the final day. Yeah. You must believe in the qadr of Allah, which is that everything was preordained. Yeah. Everything was written for us, the good and the bad. Yeah. And hold on, the Allah, the angels, the
The
messengers,
book.
the books, the qadr. What am I missing? How am I missing one? Hold on. No, the day of judgment. Hold on. Allah, the books, the angels, the messengers, the last day, and the Qadr, yeah, that's the 6. And they are inward beliefs that you must have. So it's different. You know, the
I
5
swear
pillars
you missed
that
one. Wait a minute. You had
huh?
the books. You had
Yeah.
the books. You had the Day of Judgment. You had
Hold
the
on, hold on, hold
messenger.
on.
You had the.
Let me do it in order. Let me do it in order. Allah, the belief in Allah, yeah, belief in the angels, belief in the books, belief in the messengers, belief in the final day, and the Qadr of Allah. 6.
What's the Qadr of Allah?
So the Qadr is that everything was preordained. So we believe, yeah, that everything was written for us, yeah, the good and the bad. So everything that happens is part of God's plan, and it was written for us. We believe 50,000 years before Earth was created, everything was already written for us.
So why if God was real, wouldn't He have planned everybody to believe in the same faith?
Because so basically, right, we have the free will to do what we want, yeah. But Allah just knew what
Mm-hmm.
we was gonna do. Do you know what I mean? So that's like if you know the answers to a test, yeah, you still have to sit the test. You can't go into an exam and say, "Oh, I know the answers. Don't worry, I'm not gonna sit the test." You still have to sit it, right? So that's what this life
Yeah,
is.
but He's the one that put us in this world, right? So if you had intercourse with a woman and you had a kid, would you believe that you made that kid, or would you believe that Allah guided you to make that kid because that kid's gonna be something in life?
Okay, so if if you walk into a room, yeah, and you flip on the light switch, did you invent the electricity, or was you a means for the electricity to come on?
But you kind of cut out there. What did you say?
If you walk into a dark room and you flip a light switch, did you create
Mm-hmm.
electricity, or was you a means for the electricity to come on?
Well, I was a means for the electricity to come on.
That's exactly how we look at it. I'm a means for Allah to do what Allah wills. You know, that makes
Right. So why, if Alan knew that you were gonna be this bad person, why would he let that person enter the world though? You say that sitting a test, but if I didn't want to do the test, I'd walk out of the test, right? So if he knew that this person was gonna cause bad on the world, then why wouldn't he just go, look,
because
you're not gonna go in this world?
this life, like we don't see this life as our final destination. Yeah. So this life means nothing to me. This life means nothing. I enjoy it while I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately, at the end, this life means nothing to me. Yeah. So we're gonna sit the test, and hopefully, at the end, we're gonna we're gonna what's the right word to use? We're gonna pass the test and go to heaven. Yeah? That's the goal of this life. No, but they are gonna be good and bad. You can't have the good without the bad.
Mm-hmm. So why did he cause people to suffer in such dear ways, like cancer, suffocation, like Twin Towers? If he knew that everything was going to happen this way, why didn't he make a change while he could?
Well, I mean, if he was gonna create us all to be perfect, yeah, then there would be no point in creating this world. He might as well
Mm-hmm.
put us all straight in heaven to heaven at the beginning.
So he told people to guide this thing, though. So extremists like ISIS,
Yeah,
did he know that that was going to happen?
of course, Allah knows everything. But
So
look,
if he knew that was going to happen, why did he make this such a big thing for people to believe in? Because he's also, that means he has given people the right to have that extreme thought.
but he's also going to give them a very, very painful punishment for it. So he didn't make them do it. You know, he knew they was going to do it, and he allowed it to happen. But they're going to receive their punishment for that as well. You know, and if you're good,
So would they get punished
the
though? Because
reward.
he's really forgiving, isn't he?
Huh?
Apparently, I've been told, at least. Obviously I haven't studied the Quran, but I've been told that he is the most forgiving God of all.
Yeah, but he's only forgiving to his servants.
So in their eyes, though, in extremist eyes, the ISIS's eyes, they believe that they're doing good on the world from doing what they're doing. So really, are they doing bad or are they doing good? Because
Okay.
in their mind, they're doing good.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in the Quran, it says to take one innocent life is like to take the whole. Is like to kill the whole of mankind. So that's your answer right there. What they're doing goes directly against what the book's telling them to do. So even if they think,
What is that? The
and that's why
what makes
that's why, yeah? Because of what they think they're doing a good deed, right? By doing that, yeah. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. So there's two things you need for your good deeds to be accepted. One, you have to do it purely and solely for God. Two, you have to do it in the sunnah. The sunnah is the tradition of the prophets. You have to do it in the way the prophet done it. The prophet never done it like that. So therefore, it cannot be classed as a good deed. You will not get a reward for a good deed, even if, right? Even if, like, say there's like a homeless man over there, right? And I go over there and I give him loads of alcohol, for example. Yeah. Now, some people might see that as a good deed, right? But it's not from the sunnah for us to give alcohol to people because it's forbidden. So I won't get a good deed for that, even though some people might perceive it as good, because it
So,
opposes what the religion tells me to do.
so obviously extremists and like with what we're talking about, the people that get enforced on it upon the people that are in a higher space than them. So from a young age, they get forced to do this, and they don't want to do it, but they're so scared because for their life that they do it. Would Allah be able to see the good in them and go, you know what? I know that you did wrong, but you were enforced upon it. Like you didn't want
Listen,
to do it, but in your heart you knew it was wrong, but you had to.
I mean, if you had to, when do you have to do it? Like me as a Muslim, I know this life is a test, right? So if someone put a gun in my hand and a gun to my head and said kill that person, I'd say kill me because I know when you pull this trigger, I'm going straight to heaven straight away. If I pull this trigger, that's the decision I've made. Yeah, but I fear God more than I fear death. So I would be happy for them to pull the trigger.
But you're what? So you're 32. I'm talking about
Not a bit older than
some of these people in that side of things. They're like young, no, very young. Like I'm talking like 15, 14. Some could even be younger, getting forced upon to do it because their parents or their family members have said you have to do this. They don't have the mindset of you, so they're not as wise as you because they haven't
well, look,
studied that long.
there's a few people who won't be judged, right? Anyone under the age of puberty will not be judged. Yeah? They're not an adult, right? So they won't,
Anyone under the age of what?
under the age of puberty, anyone who's a child, yeah, a child won't be held accountable for what they've done because their brain is not fully formed yet. If you are mentally ill and you're not don't have a like if you're like if you don't have full mental capacity, if you're a bit mentally ill, then you will not be held accountable for what you've done because you're not mentally like it's not your fault. You're not fully there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, yeah,
And
some
what is it that makes these people do it? Is there something in the Quran that says do this, and they've kind of turned it around to make their own like
yeah. So
mind on it?
basically, right in Islam, yeah, it says that you are like the only time it's permissible to kill someone, right, is if they come to your place where you live and try to kill you and kick you out on account of your religion. Then it is halal for you to defend yourself, and you are allowed to take that person's life if it's necessary to stop them, right? But some people
Mm-hmm.
read these verses out of context, and they see, that there's a few verses in there which allow you to kill people, but they're the conditions for it. So if you don't read the whole thing, then you're not gonna see it like, and not only that, sometimes like we don't understand because we don't see the whole picture, right? So like if you look through a window, right, and you see a man cutting another man's hand off, straight away you're gonna think that's a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then if you walked into the room, maybe that man's hand was gangrene and the guy was cutting off his hand to save him. Now is he a bad person still?
Obviously not. No.
Exactly. So sometimes, yeah, what we see with our eyes and our limited perspective and our limited intellect isn't actually what's really happening, you know?
No, you need to be more observant in life, 100%. Especially if they're taking such like measures if they have done with some of the acts that they've caused. 100%, you need to be observant of what you're doing before you do it.
Yeah.
But like, it does scare me. Like, it does worry me that how many like wars or conflicts and arguments has religion caused in the past so long? Because I would say religion is probably one of the main causes of war. Is the same time as one of the main causes of life.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I believe that religion is a smokescreen. Yeah, people would say religion, but there's always a financial component to it. But I mean, who started World War One?
Um, Somebody that was against Jews, which was Adolf Hitler.
Nothing to do with Islam, though, right?
No, 100%. I'm not saying your
Yeah,
religion.
yeah, yeah. Look,
Like,
I can't defend other religions. I can only defend my own. Right? Who started the war in Russia?
Vladimir Putin. I don't know why though. I think he just wanted more power. That was.
That's it. So when we look at it, not all wars come
But
from
that's
religion.
like what we're talking big wars. I'm just talking like, didn't they fight over Jerusalem? I don't know what two religions did it, but there was two religions that both wanted Jerusalem and said that it was part of their religion to have Jerusalem. So there was a war over that. And not only, even in the street, if I was a Christian and you was a, I don't know, a Buddhist or whatever, then I would sit there and we would have arguments over what each of our own, um, what is it called, like religious books say. So it does cause conflict as well as it causes love, right? Like anything.
Look, religions can, but I can only defend Islam. Yeah? So like in the Bible, there's verses in the Bible, right? Have you got a computer there?
No, I don't have a community. I'm in the kitchen right now.
Okay, well look, there's a chapter of verses in Leviticus in the Old Testament, yeah, which literally says you can go to your surrounding nations and enslave people. You can enslave visitors to your nation and children born of them. You can enslave and you can bequeath them to your children and they remain your property for life. In the Bible,
Which religion was this?
that's in the Old Testament in the Bible.
Oh, what? So Christianity.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, Christians nowadays, what they say is they say Old Covenant and New Covenant. So they say that it doesn't apply to them, but they still accept that the Old Testament is the word of God. So ultimately, what they have to say, unless they reject their own Bible, is they have to say that there was a time when it was acceptable to go and enslave people just because they wasn't from your nation. Now that Bible verse is
But
literally
would you not
the white
say?
people. Hold on, that's literally the Bible verse. The Western world took to Africa, started picking black people up and putting them on a boat and bringing them over as slaves. That's literally the Bible verse that they use to justify that. But that don't come from Islam.
Would you not say that Allah does have a bad side just like we did, but he learned to overcome it? So maybe if we believe, you believe that the you believe that Christianity was real, you believe all of those prophets were real, you have to believe in them more like Moses and that. Wouldn't you say that Allah has? He must have done bad deeds in his life for us to have bad deeds
No.
in
So
our brain, like.
basically, what I believe, what I believe, is that so I believe in Jesus, but I don't believe in the Bible that they have now, right? Because the Bible that they have now was written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. None of them met Jesus. None of them was alive at the time of Jesus. They're accounts of people who came after Jesus died. So
So that Chinese whispers.
yeah, so I believe that Jesus was given a book, but the book he was given cannot be the New Testament because it was written after he died. So therefore, it cannot be the book that he had when he walked the earth. Agreed?
Yeah, but who is Matt? So Matt, Luke, John, and they must have had some sort of insight from God to be such a big name in the Bible. So did they believe that they had been talked to by God himself, or?
Look, we know nothing about any of them except their first name and roughly where they lived and roughly what time period they lived in. Right? Now, the Prophet Muhammad, I can tell you what foot he used to enter the bathroom. I can tell you what hand he used to eat with. I can tell you literally everything about him because
But we factually don't know that. That's just a book again, though, right?
no,
Who writ that book?
no. Okay, so when the Prophet Muhammad was alive, all and he gave revelation
And who?
to people, right? They passed it on, and they just say for an example, right? I, I tell you something, right, and I tell 10 other people something. You all go and tell 10 people something. You all go and tell 10 separate.
Yeah, that's Chinese whispers. It ends up
No,
getting
no, no, no,
mixed
no.
up over time.
No. What it is a chain, right? There's various chains now, right? Now, if at the end of each chain, all of the words all still exactly the same, yeah, then that proves that it was preserved and that and it goes all the way back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's not Chinese whispers. You're right. Chinese whispers. When you get to the end of each chain, they would all say something completely different, right? But because we have all
But would you not say that that is what could happen with Muslim religion as well? Over time, you do start changing things as a
the
human.
Quran has never
We will take things in differently.
the Quran has never been changed. We have these chain of narrations. We can see them all now, and at the end of chain of narration, all the Qurans are still exactly the same.
Even when we converted it into English, no.
Well, look, if I say, yeah, you're beautiful or you're pretty, they're different words, but ultimately it's the same meaning, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So if I write a letter in a different language and I give it to you and you translate it into English and I give it to someone else and they translate it to English, there might be different words there in English, of course. But ultimately, the letter that I gave you both is still the same, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
100%. But
that's why
they're determined differently.
in Islam, we only have the Arabic Quran, yeah, and then we have transliterations and translations, yeah. Now the translations
Hmm.
they will differ, yes, they will, but the Quran in Arabic is all the same, every single one, letter for letter, word for word. 1400 years later,
So, what is it? What's your destiny? Where do you believe you go? If you're Muslim, you believe you have the day of judgment, but where do you believe you go after that? Do you believe you go heaven, hell, or what do you believe happens?
if I can die in the state of Islam, yeah, and Islam means submittance, yeah. So if I can die while submitting to God, then I will go to heaven. If I die outside, because look, it's not promised, I could in a year's time, end up believing something different. I could be misguided, yeah. I could be.
And what is heaven for you?
Heaven, I mean, heaven is unlike it's completely unlike Earth. There is no bad there. It's just the good. It's perfect, perfection,
So
beauty,
if everything's
paradise.
so good though, like you have so much good in a place, then it will, if it overloads with good and good and good, there's gonna be end up somebody that enters and ends up kind of turning it a little bit bad, right? In anything, just like the world, I'm sure our world could have been really, really good maybe at one point that we would have never known. And then after
Because
time, I think humans actually made it bad.
no, because like what you're doing, you're comparing paradise to Earth, and you can't compare the two. Now, there's always been bad. There is good and bad. There always has been from the beginning of time. You know, it's never been all good. You know,
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if it's all been good because, like, I
well,
guess it's never been absolutely good, but I feel like
as
we've
far back as
ruined the
history goes,
world.
anyway. Of course, when Adam and Eve first came, like we believe in Adam and Eve as well. Obviously, when Adam and Eve come, there was no sin straight away.
Hmm.
It took time. So yeah, of course, there would have been a very small period at the beginning. When when there wasn't sin, when it was just the two of them, and as time goes on and the population got bigger, yeah, it got bad. I'll accept that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It was
So
a very small period at the beginning because
for God
Satan,
to have put us on
Satan
this
deceived
world,
them. Satan deceived them while before they came to Earth. They were deceived and they sinned before they came to Earth. No?
but I'm talking about before people, right? So that was just creatures and that. Why did God put us on this world? To know that we were gonna destroy it by making all these like buildings,
Good.
making money a thing, making all of this. It destroys the world as the world. Like it was a nice
You know that
nature.
in the Quran, the angels asked Allah that exact same question, right? So in Islam, the story of Adam and Eve, right? God turned to the angels because there was angels before. Yeah, God turned to the angels and said He's going to place a representative on earth. Yeah, a vicegerent on earth. The angel said to him, "They said, Allah, why would you create man where man is capable of like mischief and bloodshed? When you could like when we as angels, all we do is glorify. We don't sin. All we do is sing praises all day. Why would you create man who is capable of all this bad? Right? And Allah,
How did they know about sin?
huh?
How did these people know about sin if sin never existed? Surely they only found out about sin when sin existed.
They didn't say the word sin. They said mischief and bloodshed. Yeah.
And how did they know what that was though?
Well, because there was Satan, there was jinn, there was creations before us. We wasn't the first creation. There was creations before us. We believe that
So
this
is
earth,
that in different planets?
before man was on the earth, we believe that jinn ruled the earth. Not ruled the earth, but jinn run around on the earth. So there was creations before us. Yeah, for us to have some sort of knowledge like that. So the angel said to him, "Why would you create these humans when they're capable of bloodshed, capable of mischief?" God said to them, "I know something that you do not." Then God created the things and placed everything on the earth, and turned to the angels and said, if you are truthful, name the thing created. And the angel said, we have no knowledge but what you give us. All glory to you. He then turned to Adam and said, Adam, you name them. And Adam named them all. And God turned back to the angels and said, see, I told you, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. He said, I told you, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Yes, they are capable of mischief. Yes, they are capable of bloodshed. But look what else they're capable of with their free will. Because angels don't have free will. They have to glorify, they have to worship God. So yes, we are capable of
Right.
doing this bad. We are capable of all this evil that we see. But then look at the good that men do as well. You know, look when mankind helps each other. You know, there is a lot of beauty in this world, right? There is, but you can't have the good without the bad, because if you didn't have the bad, then we would all be like robots. You know, we wouldn't be able to think.
So why did it? Does Anna believe in buildings, in ships that are going across the sea, in this quick transport of causing oil rigs and stuff like that? Did he believe that that is a good thing, or is there anything in the Quran that says don't build anything unnecessary?
Yes,
Because
yes,
this is unnecessary. We don't have to live in a
100%,
building. We don't have to live
100%. It says it,
like we could just live in a stick house.
bro, 100%, right? It says that we shouldn't waste our wealth, you know. And it says that, you know, this is a funny one, right? Because it says about mosques, yeah. It says don't make them too glamorous, you know. Don't waste your money. Don't do it. And look at the mosques we have today. There's some of them are so big and so glamorous, you know. And also there's a hadith, yeah. And this was a prophecy, right? This was a prophecy that um, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there will come a time when the barefoot Arab men start competing in building tall buildings, right? And he said this as a sign of the end times, not to encourage people to do it, right? Where's the tallest building in the world today?
Hong Kong, isn't it?
Dubai. Dubai. Go back
Oh,
200
Dubai,
years.
right? Yes.
Go back 200 years. Dubai was a desert. Dubai was a desert 200 years ago. Now it's got the tallest building in
Is
the
that
world.
an Arab country?
Of course it is. It's in the Arabian Peninsula.
I don't really know about my
Yeah,
geography
that's
that
all
well.
right.
I can't lie.
Where's the second tallest building in the world today?
America, right?
Saudi Arabia. So you got Dubai and Saudi Arabia competing in building tall buildings. This is what the Prophet said, and he didn't say it as an encouragement. He told them it's a sign of the end of times. And like I said, go back even 150 years. It's just a desert, bro.
So why? So he doesn't believe in this, or why, as a Muslim, in that why did they build mosques that are so big and glamorous if they know that he said don't build it big and glamorous? Like,
Because it's a sign of the end times, bro. It's a sign of the end times. It just shows you that this
because
world
like,
is coming to an end soon. You know. Now we
what? So do you? How many years do you reckon's left, or did he say or not?
well, when you look at like Jesus, yeah, like if you read the Bible, because we believe in parts of the Bible, you know, we believe that there is some truth in there, right? So when Jesus was asked, yeah, about the hour, Jesus said, "What? I don't know. The angels don't know. Only the Father knows." Right? That's in the Bible. Yeah. So when the Prophet Muhammad was asked, the answer is exactly the same. That knowledge belongs to Allah alone. No one else knows that.
All
And
right. So
again, that just goes back to what I was saying. Yeah, that these messengers walked the earth at different times, never met each other, but they said the same thing.
would you go to a mosque then, or would you not bother if you know that he said not made too big and glamorous, and you know that it's not a sin? I wouldn't say it's forbidden, is it? He didn't say you can't.
No,
He just said try not to.
you know, we do go to them. You know, we do. You know, like we're humans. We're not perfect. You know, we do go to them. But
Is it a sin?
My mosque in London, right, is in Shepherd's Bush. The entrance is through an alleyway full of bins, right, and it looks like a hut. It's called Dus Sunnah in Shepherd's Bush, right? Literally, when you walk to it, you are walking through an alleyway, bins with rubbish piled up to here. That's the mosque I go to because they're Salafi brothers.
And
They believe
is it okay from? So if I went to a mosque, is that okay, or do they say? Because I believe when mosque came around, right, especially in Manchester, there was a massive uproar, and people were saying it shouldn't be made and this and that because their reasoning was that we wasn't allowed. So if I was just a normal atheist like myself, I wasn't allowed into their mosque, but they were allowed into our church. That's what the massive like
you can go
argument was and protest.
into a mosque. Who said
But
you can't go to?
when they first got made in Manchester, was you allowed?
Look, there might be some mosques where they're teaching bad stuff, and they might not let you in. There might be. I can't, like I said, I can't defend the action of every Muslim. I can only defend my deen and what my deen says. You know, so you should be welcome to walk into any mosque. One thing, you might not be allowed to be in there and pray with them if you're not a Muslim, right? Yeah, that's acceptable. But there is absolutely no reason why you can't go up to any mosque, knock on the door, and say, "Hi, I'd like to come in. I'd like to speak to you. I'd like to ask some questions." They should invite you in and welcome you with open arms. They should do that, 100%. You know?
And do you have to take your shoes, socks off,
Yes.
and stuff like that?
Yes, you can't. You know, you must respect it. You know, you've got to respect it. You know, you can't go and disrespect it.
And what is the reason for that?
Keep it clean, bro. Keep it clean, bro. You walk around on your shoes all day. You step in urine. You step in dog poo. You walk through mud. We're gonna put our head on that floor. You know, keep it nice and clean.
But back then we didn't have shoes, and they were walking in it without shoes anyway, and they would have stepped in that
No,
without shoes on, because like they didn't have shoes.
good point. But before we pray, we have to do something called wudu. Yeah. So wudu is a preparation for prayer. So what we do is we wash our hands, we wash our face, we clean our nose, we clean our ears, and we wash our feet. Then we can go and pray. So you would do that just before entering.
All right, all right. Why ears? What's ears got to do with it?
Just about cleaning.
And nose.
Bro, do this now. Do that, and look at it. You don't show the camera, but look at it yourself. That's why.
Well, what about nose? Nose is always like, isn't it good though? Like earwax was made to stop things coming into your ears that are bad.
Well, no, that's what the hairs are for. You have hairs inside. You have hairs there, and you have hairs inside your nose. The hairs stop you from inhaling large bits of dust and that. You know.
So what is the wax then? What is the wax inside?
I think a wax is the build-up of stuff that it stops going in the ear. Same with your bogies. Yeah, your bogies are just the stuff that your nose breathes in. The hairs are like a mesh net sort of thing, and allows the air to come through, but stops the shit coming in. And then the shit turns into a bogey. And it might be the same with it is. I love Wallem, you know. I don't know everything. I don't know everything. You know?
So how many times did you go to a mosque when you're in London? So when you're in London, your hometown, you know the mosque is there and that's your go-to mosque. How many times do you go to it a month?
We should go as much as we possibly can. You know? It's obligatory for us to go for Friday prayer. You know, for congregation on Friday, we should all go then. But you know, it depends. You know, like if you're working and you have to work to support your family and you're not able to go, then you know you do as much as you can. You know, but Islam didn't come to make your life impossible. You know, so if you have to go to work and you have to support your family and it means that you can't go to the mosque so much, then you pray at home. You pray. But when I was working as a
Does it say that in a mosque, or is that just what our human has said? Because obviously, no, in the Quran. Because in the Quran, yeah, at the time that it was made, work wasn't a thing. You would just feed your own family, but we wouldn't call it work. It was just food and whatever, because we didn't have money. Like money wasn't a thing. Did they even mention money back then? Is money a thing?
they had money 1400 years ago. Of course they did.
It wasn't money though, like notes, was it? It was
They had
gold and stuff like that. That's not
dirhams,
money.
I think. I think in the Arabian Peninsula, I think they had dirhams, or they had gold. You know, gold would have been transfer wealth. You would have had gold, or even animals. You know, like a goat. That would have been a form of currency. You know.
People are saying they had money in 1680. Nah, but we didn't have like pound notes, guys. What I'm trying to say, we
No,
didn't have the Queen on our pound note. And what is his thoughts on
a
the
lot.
Queen and stuff like that?
There's always been diamonds. There's always been gold. There's always been jewels. Always been. There's always been stuff of value. Like I said, even livestock, like a cow. A cow, you can get milk from the cow for X amount of time. A chicken's gonna hatch those eggs. Therefore, you can use it to as a form of currency in a way.
He's going too much into the things. No, guys, it's because the fact is, if you want to believe in a religion or you want to believe in something, you have to go deep into it because there might be slip-ups and you need to know where's wrong and what's right.
Listen, bro, you've asked nothing but sensible questions, bro. Nothing but sensible questions.
And
And
the
with
Queen,
so much respect,
royal blood. What is royal blood about then? Because obviously, he must have mentioned that there's going to be royalty in our world. But when it comes to royal blood, did he mention that at all in the? Because royalties has always been on the earth, right? We've always had a queen or something,
Yeah,
even dating back to.
we don't have royalty in Islam, really. You know, I mean, what we have like caliphs, which are like rulers. Yeah, but it's not like it wasn't a bloodline. You know, it wasn't a bloodline. You know, you would pick the best person for the people. You know?
Oh right, so it
I just
was
want to
more
make a
like
quick comment.
the
Yeah?
people's choice. So it was more of a
Someone's talking about
democracy.
scientific miracles in the Quran. Now, me, I'm a Salafi Muslim, okay? So I don't. When I speak about Islam, I speak about it, or I try my best, struggle, but I try my best to speak about it the way the Prophet spoke about it. To speak about scientific miracles, I don't advise you Muslims to do that because science changes all the time. So if you convince someone that Islam's the truth based on a scientific miracle, and science comes along and says, "Oh, hold on, that's no longer true," or they don't no longer believe that, then that person might start to doubt Islam. So we don't convince people that Islam's the truth by science. Okay, we don't need to. Alhamdulillah, we don't need to. Logically, it makes sense.
So
We
equality.
and it goes in line.
You believe in equality, don't you? And equal rights for everyone, right? That's what it says.
Okay,
So why is the woman? Why would the woman never be higher than the man in a relationship?
okay. So if I ask a man to lift up 100 kg weight, and then I ask a woman to lift up the same 100 kg weight, is that fair? Is that equality? Or is equality?
Yeah,
Well, okay, so that's fair then. A woman can't lift.
yeah, 100%. Like if they both believe they can pick up 100 kg weight, then I don't know why you couldn't put it to a test and see if they could, because we're all made out of the same things. They've just scientifically, they are
Okay,
not as strong.
God created men, yeah, with a set of attributes, yeah, which allows them to provide and protect. That's our role. Yeah, we provide and we protect them, yeah. And then the woman's role
Mhm.
is very different, yeah. So we're equal in terms of we both deserve the same amount of respect, right? But it wouldn't be fair to ask a woman to like if you just say for example you're married, yeah, and you hear your window smash and someone break into your house, who's gonna go? You or the woman?
Depends who's stronger. If my woman's an MMA fighter, I'm staying in bed.
Right. Always be
You go
always
downstairs.
be an extreme exception to every rule, of course, yeah. But 9 times out of 10, the man's gonna get up and the man's gonna go, right?
Not 100,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The man's job is to protect and provide. The woman's job is to nurture and love. Yeah. Now the woman was given the capability to not only birth a child but to nurture a child on her breast. Right. So we have different roles in
Yeah.
society. That doesn't mean we're not equal. That just means Allah is wise enough, yeah, to say I've made you differently. So I'm going to give you a different set of rules which go in line with your actual.
Do you believe in respect your elders? You've converted 2 years ago, right? So you were just the average Englishman, just like myself.
I wasn't just
Would
your
you
average
believe in
man.
respecting your
was
elders?
I was Ibiza every year. I was Croatian drum and bass festivals. I went to every festival, every pub, every party, in every single person's kitchen at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, but when it comes to it, you
I
didn't
was the
have a
worst.
religion, right? So
Huh?
you had the same talks from your parents, like respect your elders and stuff like that. Do you believe in respecting your elders more than respecting the average old like I don't know 20-year-old? Because I don't personally. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, look, like, of course, we should respect our elders, but there are going to be elders who don't act right, you know. But still, we should.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah, yeah, look, if someone's like in Islam, we have a hack, yeah, the truth. Like, if someone wrongs you, you have a right to get your hack off them, yeah. Have your revenge. You have a right for that. But if you forego your right to revenge, then you will get a good deed. You know, it's better to forego your right to revenge, but you still have it. You know, eye for an eye. We believe that. We believe that. Like Christians will say, if your enemy hits you, give them the other cheek. That is not Islam. Islam, you will get what you deserve. Yeah, Islam is not a religion of peace. It's a religion of justice. You will get what you deserve. If someone wrongs you, you have an Islamic right to
Yeah, so
defend.
in my eyes, when anybody said respect your elders, right? I've gone, yeah, well, I respect anybody, right? They've given me respect. But I was down, so I'll give you an instance. The other day I was down at the tip with my mum, right? And some old man was trying to tell me what to do at the tip, even though I knew the owner. And the owner said, look, you don't have to clear that up. That's our job, right? So he's trying to tell me, and he's like being really rude. So I just told him to off, yeah? I'm not going to lie. And I just got in the car. In my eyes, he gave me so much disrespect trying to tell me what to do just because he's older, right? To the point that I flipped and I had to go in. I wouldn't say that I was a bad person. I just reacted in a way that he was disrespectful, so I fought fire with fire. And some people can't get into head and not any higher than
if someone disrespects you, you have a right to go back at them, right? But it's encouraged for you to forego that right. Because maybe you foregoing that right and saying something nice to him, maybe that will put something in his heart where he might change and become a better person. So in Islam, it's always encouraged, try and see the best in people, try and give people good character. But of course, we live in the real world. Some people out there are evil, yeah. Some people out there are never gonna change, and some people you can get your hands on them. You can, you know. But always.
So the religious faith itself is about peace, but humans ourselves, we aren't so peaceful when it comes to certain things that we dislike. Is that what?
Bro,
That's what it is really.
we we live in the real world. I say to people all the time, we live in the real world. Yeah, some people are evil in this world, and some people, you know, they need to get their justice. They like some people, everyone's gonna get what they deserve in that life anyway, But in this world, if someone wrongs you, you have that right. You have that right, you know.
And why do you want to like move around so much? What in your heart? Not even this isn't to do with the religion. Why do you want to move around so much? So like, what's inspired you to go to all these countries and do all these things and explore yourself when at the time you were just partying? You know what I mean? Like, why do you want to do it?
When I first accepted Islam, right, I read this book and I believed that this book come from God. That was it. So, so I become a Muslim. I was still drinking alcohol. I was still doing every single sin I was doing before. I was still doing for maybe 3 to 6 months. Yeah. But what I done is slowly, step by step, read the religion, study the religion. My character changed over time. It takes a long time, You've got to study. You've got to see. This is why in Islam you have to seek knowledge. You have to study. That's why I encourage all my people to register to the. I've got an Islamic quiz. Good time to plug it. Yeah. I've got an Islamic quiz on Sunday where we go through the basics and fundamentals and foundations of Islam. If you say you are a Muslim, there's a lot of information that is obligatory for you to know. It is not acceptable for you to say you are a Muslim and not seek the knowledge afterwards. So what I done is I accepted Islam, I studied the religion, and my character changed slowly, slowly, bit by bit. I have a long way to go still. I have a long way to go still. But I'm 10 times the man now than I was 2 years ago. I know that. And inshallah, if I continue to study, in 2 years' time, I'm going to be 10 times the man I am now. And that's what Islam's about.
I saw a video of you though, which made me like confused. And also, I talked to another Muslim yesterday. He was just really, really rude, right? And I'm talking. He just kept on going for my parents. But obviously, I then saw a video, and you were obviously there was a woman what did whatever on live, and then you said, according to your laws, and you know what you said in it,
Yeah. Listen,
right?
listen. That was my.
Would you say
Did you read the caption on?
that was a sin?
Did you read the caption?
No, I can't remember I did read it. I said
Go back,
something with the lack
go back and read
of
the
more.
caption. The caption said, "May Allah make me better, so that in the future I can forego my right to revenge." That's what the caption said. I had an Islamic right to make that video after the stuff that she said about me. Yeah, I used her own logic against her, but I should have, and even I knew it at the time. I'm so glad I wrote that caption now. Go back and check it. The caption literally says, "May Allah make me better, so that next time I can forego my right to this." Yeah, because I have an Islamic right to.
Then why did you post it then if you knew at the time that it
Because
was?
I'm a weak person and I'm not strong enough, bro. Listen, there was a time 2 years ago, yeah, where if someone spoke about me like that and they were stood in front of me, I would be back in, I'd be in jail, But alhamdulillah, now I'm in
Even a woman?
huh? A woman. You think,
Did
listen,
you believe?
anyone who stood in front of me and said the things that woman said to me, it wouldn't have ended well. The person I was 2 years ago. I've never hit a woman in my life.
So
I'd have threw a drink over her, or spat in her face. I would have spat in her face, 100%. No, but now I'm.
women in religions, yeah, is it seen right for a man to touch a girl?
What do you mean?
So in the Muslim religion, because I know that some
Oh,
religions
we
or
shouldn't,
some people, especially, I don't know.
we shouldn't even shake a woman's hand. Yeah, like a Salafi Muslim, like my brothers who I learn from. If a like woman, there's a really funny video, right, where this woman she accepts Islam, she gives shahada, right, and as she gives shahada, yeah, she goes to hug him because she's so happy, and he goes, no, 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 I can't touch you, and then he says like, sister, sister, come, and the two sisters hug. It's so funny, yeah, because even something as simple, right, as shaking a woman's hand, putting her arm around the woman, this can spark a feeling. Yeah, it might not. 9 times out of 10, it might not. But there's a chance it can. And same with the music situation that we spoke about earlier. Anything where there's a chance of evil to come from, it's forbidden. To protect us and to protect the woman more than anything else. Because women,
All right, so you should never ever lay a hand on a woman. So that is, and what about children? What's their form of discipline? Because obviously, if they everybody has to have form of discipline to actually get into the world. What would be their form of discipline?
I mean, I'll be honest, right? I'm a new Muslim. Yeah, I am a new Muslim. So when it comes to like the way that you should discipline your children and the rules and regulations on disciplining children, I don't know enough. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know stuff that I don't know. That's not something that I've studied. It's not a part of Islam that I've had to look at. So I don't. I can't give you an answer to that one. I've
All
been
right,
Muslim
fair
for
enough.
years. I do study every day, but there's a lot of things
No,
that
100%. To be fair, for 2 years, you know a lot. Like, I've asked some questions that are quite.
I'm not gonna
I do that
lie.
to a lot of people. I do go hard in on them because
You've tested
I
my
did it
knowledge.
to the other guy as well. I'm just the type of guy that if you're gonna say that you're religion or something, then I'm gonna question you to find out really what your religion about in your eyes is compared to the next man and the next man. Because I see religion as like they all have one belief, but some people's beliefs differ depending on the time they've been or what side of it they believe. Just like as I said, ISIS and a normal Muslim, right? They take certain things out and they start to disturb the whole entire Quran.
Yeah.
Yourself, you're new, but you know a lot about it.
Yeah.
So you're quite wise towards it.
Re-
And
re-
the other guy, I thought he was wrong for the homophobic remark he said.
yeah. Well, look, like, when it comes to like, that's why I say I'm a Salafi Muslim, right? Because what I do is I only take. I remember what I said about chain of narration. Yeah. So if the chain of narration goes back to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I don't accept it. If someone says this is from Islam and I say, okay, show me where the Prophet said it and where the companions understood it like that, if they can't give me that answer, then I reject it. Yeah? Because the Prophet received the revelation, his companions were there alive with him, so they will have the best understanding of what he wanted and what he said. So when
There's bare numbers though in there, like 24772 chapter and stuff like
oh,
that.
what
This isn't just something that you can
there's a lot of hadith.
recite back to.
Remember, yeah, I told you, I know what foot my Prophet used to walk into the bathroom with. I know what hand he used to eat. I know everything about him. That's why there's so many hadiths, because he left no stone unturned for us. Any Muslim has, like all Muslims, they have no excuse to not know this stuff. They have no excuse to act the way they do. They have no excuse for the ignorance because the Prophet left us he left us everything. He literally told us how to act in every situation. But the problem is, Muslims don't study it. They say, La ilaha illallah, oh, I'm a Muslim, I'm going to be all right on the day of judgment. You know?
People are saying, oh, so we accept Sahih Hadiths, whatever that means.
Sahih, yeah, Sahih.
What is it?
Sahih is authentic hadith, yeah. So basically,
So
Islam,
why are they saying that's a bad? They're kind of saying it might be a bad thing. I don't know because he said, oh, so we accept Sahih Hadiths. Is that bad or is that good?
that's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. Sahih hadiths, right? So in Islam, right?
Somebody else said,
So,
so that's a good thing. Somebody else said, because the Quran states that it's not the will of Allah. How come?
what? That doesn't make any sense.
It says because the Quran states it is not the will of
What?
Allah.
What's not?
Like why does it state that?
I'm really sorry, but I don't understand the question. What's the question?
So they said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Quran states it is not the will of Allah.
The Quran states
How come?
what's
Like, how? Why have they done that?
the Quran states that what's not the will of Allah. The Hadith.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
guessing so.
so
I'm guessing so. They
says,
talk about
yeah,
something.
the Quran says, yeah, obey me and obey my messenger, right? So the Quran is only the speech of Allah. There is not one word of it is the Prophet Muhammad speaking. Yeah? So when the Quran says obey me, he means obey the Quran. That's how we obey God, by obeying the Quran. How do we obey the messenger? We listen to the hadiths. So the Quran tells us
And they're
to
saying
obey the
about gay people as well. That's what they were on about.
yes.
It is not the will of Allah. So
Listen,
we'll go recite back to the question. Why? Right, here we go. They said, because the Quran states that it's not the will of Allah, like about
where
the gay
where
people.
does the Quran say? Where does the Quran say that hadiths are not the will of Allah? Where? Chapter and verse.
I don't know. You guys can answer that one because I'm just going through. Obviously, I've asked quite a few now, and I'm just wondering what other people are thinking because
Yeah,
there's Muslims, there's not
listen,
Muslims, and they're wondering themselves.
listen. There's a lot of Muslims out there, right, who are very lazy, right? They don't like to pray. They don't like to actually follow the religion. So what they do is they say, "I'm a Muslim, but I only follow Quran." Yeah. Now in the Quran, it tells you to pray, but it doesn't tell you how many times to pray, and it doesn't tell you when to pray. We need that. Yeah. So the Quran is like a guidebook. Yeah. And it will tell you in general, pay your zakat. It doesn't tell you how much zakat to pay, but it tells you to pay zakat. Yeah, it tells you to pray, but it doesn't tell you how to pray or when to pray. So we have the Quran which tells us what to do, and we have the Hadith which go into detail of it.
What is zakah? Is that money?
Huh? Zakat's charity, the charity.
Is zakah money?
Zakat charity,
Right. So charity was a thing then, back then.
of course,
Like, how was charity a thing back then?
because there were still people poor, so you had to give them food, feed people. Be good.
Is that charity though, or is that just
And not only that,
a
uh,
kindness of a man?
acts of charity, yeah, like me smiling is an act of charity. There's charity goes way much more deeper than here's £50. That's a very
Mm-hmm.
modern way of looking at charity that only come around in the last 100, 200 years. Before that, charity, and not only that, zakat, charity is an English word. English is a relatively new language. Zakat is an Arabic word, so you can't use one word to explain zakat. There'll be in England, you might need 5 or 6 words to fully give that word justice.
So when they say give to charity, do they guide you to what charity to give to, what you're supposed to be giving, or like there must be a reason why they're saying give to charity?
Yeah,
Like,
so you
is it
like, you would help
Cancer Research UK for
orphans,
charity?
widows, people that are traveling. It's that will class as your zakat. Someone who's traveling, if you help them. There's various different ways. But again, like for me to give you any more detail on that, that's not a topic that I, you know, like 100% I give you so much detail on it. But in general, help orphans, help the widows, help the traveling, help the poor people. Because there's always been poor people from the beginning of time.
But if you're poor given to poor, it makes you poor, all right?
Well, no, if you're poor, then you don't have to give to charity. Charity is only applicable to you if you have the means to do so. So if you're a Muslim and you're poor, then obviously you don't pay charity. You can receive it.
And would people? So when you're part, I've noticed a lot of Muslims are quite well off. This is not like anything to do, but I've seen like when I've talked to Muslims, they are quite well off. Is this due to the charity work and due
No.
to the
Well, look,
goodwill of each other?
we believe, yeah, anything that you give in the sake of Allah, anything you give in charity for God, God will bless you with twice as much back. So giving in charity is actually beneficial to us financially. But again, this goes back to Islam came to protect your wealth. You don't gamble, you don't drink, you don't have prostitutes, you don't do any of these things that draw your wealth away. Again, it just proves
So I'm
that
an atheist, right? And I don't believe. I wouldn't say I believe in Allah. I wouldn't say I don't. That's what an atheist. I don't believe in a God, but I don't not believing in a God. I just think that I'm here and I'm
you're
supposed to
agnostic.
do the
Bro.
best
You're
while I
not
can.
atheist.
Have an impact.
You're agnostic. You're not atheist. Bro.
Right. So what does atheist mean? You don't believe in a God at all?
It means you reject God. There is no God.
All right. So I'm an agnostic, right? So I believe that.
You believe there's a God, but
Yeah, I believe that if there is a God, then big up to them. If there's not, then
you
then
you
I'm gonna do
you
whatever I
believe
go.
after the conversation we've had, you believe that there's a creator, but you just don't have a religion. Like you just haven't embraced the religion.
There's just too many. Like as I said, there is way too many, and for me to have even go into every single religion would take probably most of my life to actually find my one. So I just, if it comes to me and I go, you know what I am, then that is it. But I don't know. Even if there's not even a God, it could have just been anything. Like we don't really know, and that's something that our brain would never be able to
But look,
get
you
a way
look,
around.
you have a very good head on your shoulders, right? You've sat here and you've asked me 150 questions in the last hour or however long, right? Have I given you one answer? Have I given you just one answer that you thought, hold on, that don't sound right? Just one.
Um, Probably. Let me just try. We've had a lot here, so
Yeah,
I'm
we
just
have.
trying to
But like,
think. There will be one, I'm sure, that I've
every
thought
time
about.
I've given you an answer,
Um,
accepted it because it makes sense to you because God put something inside of us that when we hear what the revelation, it makes sense to us and we accept it. You know, you're not a stupid boy. You're not a man, sorry. Yeah. So anything, if I'd have said something that you opposed, you would have called me out on it. You would have because you've been asking questions. You're very
So,
like,
and the one that I said, that was the only one, the 100 kg for the girl and boy. I don't know. I don't think that there was women were put on this just to love and nurture. I think there could be women that could be put on this to work just like a man
yeah,
could.
of course.
Like that's how we've established
The
in our
prophet's
modern
wife,
day of society. I'm not talking about back then.
the prophet's wife, Khadijah, yeah, she was a businesswoman. She was a businesswoman.
Hmm.
Of course, you know, women look, we don't say you're not allowed to work. You can, of course you can. You have a right to go and work. Islam
Can
gives
you
you
in
a right.
Saudi Arabia?
Huh?
In England, obviously you can. We're multicultural. We're free of will. We're free spoken. But in Saudi Arabia, obviously, I don't know much about the country. But can women do that, or do they
Yes, of
have
course
to
they can.
love and nurture?
Of course they can. You know, another one of the prophet's wife, Aisha, she was she was a scholar. She was a teacher. You know, so one of his wives was a businesswoman. One of his wives was a teacher. Muslim women are not supposed to just stay home and never be seen, and just stay home and have babies like baby machines. Yeah, but that's where their blessings are. That's where their good deeds are. You know, it's a good deed for them to look after the house. It's a good deed for them to look after the children. But of course, they have the right to work. They have the right to education. They have the right everything that we have a right to. You know what? It's
Because
funny,
women didn't get education, or did they? Men got education, and
bro.
women didn't
Before
really get that
in
much.
the Arabian Peninsula, before the Prophet came to them, they would burn daughters alive because like the way that they looked at it, right, is if they had a daughter, right, I'm gonna spend all this money feeding this daughter, raising this daughter. She's probably never gonna go to work because they didn't allow women to work then. Yeah, so it was like, and then eventually she's gonna get married and leave and not put no money back into the house. So they was
Well, how are we gonna have a new generation without them, though?
huh?
You needed women to have the new generation of life, like
Yeah,
we spoke about earlier, reproducing.
yeah.
So why did they do that?
Look, it wasn't everyone who done that, but it happened, and it happened often. It's not every woman. It's not like every household was like, all right, every time we get a woman, we're gonna kill her. It wasn't like that. There was still a lot of good people in them times, but it wasn't uncommon for people to do that. They did that. That was a fact. That's what a lot of bad people would do. You know? But that doesn't mean every man does. You know. But again, bro,
Right,
you know,
100, 100.
I can't defend the actions of every Muslim. Mayday, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You have missed 2 hours of this. I'm gonna upload, bro. Do you mind if I upload this somewhere on my YouTube?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
That's
fine.
right.
That's
I'm gonna
fine.
upload this on my YouTube. It's been a really, really nice conversation, bro. You've been very respectful. Um,
I've got 100% one more question
go
before
on,
you
bro.
think you're going, and that is, as me being an agnostic, and there are other people in this chat and other people in your chat and stuff like that. So personally, how I see it is, I do good as best as I can. Yeah, maybe to not even to get past the sins, just to know that I've improved as a person, and I do try to do good, right? just because I don't believe in Allah or I don't believe in God or whatever, right? Like fully on, where would I go when it comes to heaven or hell?
Okay.
Because I've
So
done everything I could to be good.
Allah said, yeah, He will never punish a people until the message has been brought to them. Right. So you living in a Christian country, yeah, born in a Christian or an agnostic household, yeah, and the only thing you ever heard about Islam probably before today was ISIS, yeah. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
get judged as, like, you need to have the truth brought to you. Now, unfortunately, Owen, right, this conversation, yeah, you're going to lose a bit of your opportunity of ignorance now. Because we've sat here, I've managed to explain and answer a lot of your questions. So I'm hoping, that after this, you'll look into it a bit more with an open mind, maybe over time. Nothing's going to happen overnight, you know. Hopefully, I hope that you become Muslim, because I want good for you and I want you to get to heaven. But this life is a test. Satan's gonna work just as hard to misguide you as Allah will guide you. So it's up to you ultimately for you to now go and seek the knowledge, go and look at it on your own and accept it or reject it. If you reject it, then hellfire, bro. You know? If you accept it, then paradise. That's the
So what if you say like, look, I've done all my research, whatever, and I go, look, I still am an agnostic. I still am trying to find my belief because it's still hard for me to get my head around. So you're saying that then he would put you to hell?
well look, God won't punish someone until like put it this way, right? We believe, right? If a Muslim and he's not praying, yeah, then that means he was never gonna pray. So Allah took him. Yeah? Allah knew he was never gonna change, so he took him. Right? Now if you are looking into it with an open mind and you're on a journey, Allah won't take you from your journey. Allah will let you complete your journey. Allah is not gonna see someone, yeah, who's trying and looking into it and take them before there's time. Allah will only take someone if He knows they are never gonna change. They was never gonna change. They was never gonna accept it. Then He will take them. But if you're on a journey and it will take time, bro. Listen, it takes time. A lot of people think that Islam, like, bro, I've had the English people say to me, "How are you Muslim? You're not Pakistani. How are you Muslim? You're not an Arab." People don't understand that Islam came for everybody. So it's going to take a long time for them barriers and them blockades that have been built up in your head for them to be knocked down. So take your time.
So doesn't it scare you though, in the fact that if you don't believe it, like, so in one religion they'll say you only get to heaven if you believe in this, another religion says this, right? As a person, as what we know, we have this belief or we don't have this belief, right? Would you say it's right of Allah himself to say just because you were searching into it and you couldn't get your head around it and you couldn't actually, find your way in that religion, would you think it's right for him to put somebody to hell for that? I don't. That isn't that a bad deed of his own? Because like,
No.
they wasn't a bad person. I didn't
What,
disrespect anyone. I just didn't believe.
but what we're doing, right, is we're using the law of the land like that's the ultimate law, right? In Allah, in Islam, yeah, to reject is the worst sin. Yeah, it's worse. It's the worst sin. In the world we live in now, murder is the worst sin, or rape, or something else that I can't say because I'll probably get it banned. Yeah, yeah, it's good, you. Um, so yeah, so like, what we need to do, right? We need to like, um, sorry, that guy just completely threw me. I don't know why he started talking. So what we do, yeah, we go on the law of the land, yeah. We think that that's the ultimate law. That's not the ultimate law, you know? It's not. The ultimate law and the worst sin is to reject God. So if you reject God, then um, that's like me going out and killing someone in comparison to this law that we have here. Does that make sense?
That's his wrongdoing, though. Surely, like at the end of the day, isn't that a bit selfish? That's just like me saying I make a world right of people, and just because people don't believe in me, but they're still nice people, they still do
But
everything
what's
they
nice,
can for other
but what you're
people.
doing, right? What you're doing is you're using your subject. Right, so what's nice? You tell me what a nice person is.
Somebody that doesn't cheat, doesn't um, look at people in the wrong way, accepts everybody for their own person, and has a way of life, so they're not causing harm on others, even if they do harm themselves. right?
Okay,
I don't see
okay,
it's as long as you're not hurting others.
okay. But a murderer, yeah. If I ask a murderer what a good person is, he's going to say something different, right?
Well, obviously, everybody's got their own way of thinking,
Exactly.
but
There you go. Subjective opinions, right? If we go on subjective opinions, everyone's going to say that a good person is something different, right? Which is why we can't use our subjective opinion. We have an objective belief from God. So God has given us a law, which is not subjective. It will not differ from person to person. Yeah. So what we can't do is we can't use our subjective brains to determine what a good person is, because what you think is a good person, what I think a good person, what a rapist thinks a good person, what a murderer thinks is a good person is all going to be very, very different. So
that's
that's
yeah,
why
that's
we
subjective.
focus
But
on
I'm
the law
saying,
from
right,
Allah.
so this is my idea of it. What you said when it comes to the Muslim community, I do as a person as an agnostic, right? So I do try and give to as much as I can, even though I'm not that well off at all, right? I do try and help people. I do try and guide people down the right path, not down a religious path, but down the right path. And I do everything that a Muslim would, just in a way of like being helpful and being nice. But because I don't believe like fully, I don't put my whole heart into a god. Why would that give him
But
any right
right,
to
so,
push me down
right.
into the worst place?
If you had died yesterday, yeah, and I'm not saying that after
Mm-hmm.
today it's going to be any different, but I'm just going to use yesterday because before today you had none of these answers, yeah. So before, if you had died yesterday, you wouldn't have been necessarily gone straight to the hellfire. Allah would have tested you on the day of judgment. Yeah, you would have been tested because Allah will not judge someone before they've been tested or before they've had a message sent to them, right? So we don't believe that every non-believer is automatically going to go to the hellfire. We believe that if you haven't had the word of Islam brought to you, and when I say the word of Islam, I mean the true teachings of Islam, not what you see on BBC News, not what you see on Fox or CNN, the true teaching of Islam. Once you've had that brought to you, you will accept it, bro. Because everything I've said to you today, you've accepted. It makes sense to you, right? So the more you look into it,
Mm-hmm.
it's still gonna make sense to you. And if you read, yeah, 20 books and they all make sense to you, you're gonna accept that what it's telling you is right. Correct?
I accept it. I accept, but this is what I mean. I'm an accepting person. I would accept it. I would accept it. I would accept it. But whether I would put my belief into somebody that I've never seen is a whole different story.
Okay.
Because
Do
I could
COVID?
accept everything he
Do you
said.
believe in COVID? Did you wear a mask? Did you wear a
Mm,
mask? Did you wear a mask? Yes,
do
no.
I believe? No, I didn't.
You did
No, I
wear a mask.
didn't. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you did.
No,
Everyone
I'm
had
not
to
gonna
wear a
lie.
mask. Don't lie, Owen. We all
Nah,
had
I
to wear
got
a
told that I had to.
mask.
I just used to. I'm not gonna lie. I sinned then. I sinned. I used to just say, yeah, I had
I do
some sort of.
you
I'd say
believe
I had asthma.
in
I'd say I've
cancer?
got an underlying health
Do you
condition.
believe in cancer?
Huh?
Do you believe in cancer?
Everybody's got cancer in them, yeah. But that's
No, but you
proven.
believe that you have never seen it though. You can't see cancer, but you believe it.
Yeah, because I see my granddad die of it.
Yeah, but you've seen the effects of it, right? You've seen the effects of it, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so me being a
But I didn't
hold
think
on, hold on, hold
COVID
on,
was as
bro,
sincere
hold
as
on.
it was. Like, I don't think it
My
was.
battery's gonna die. So you believe in cancer because you've seen the effects of it, right? 2 years, 3 years ago, I was in prison. 4 years ago, I was a drug dealer. Now you can see the effect that Islam's had. Yeah. So when you look into Islam,
Yeah,
you're
a
gonna see,
hundred, a
you're
hundred. But it
gonna
hasn't had that effect on me.
huh? Yeah, because you haven't, bro. This is day one.
But
I'm gonna call this right. Day one of Owen's journey to Islam. Inshallah. But let's take your time, Owen. I'm gonna. If you want, you can ask one more question. But like we have a saying, every question births another question. You said one more question 10 questions ago. But my battery's gonna
right, one more question
die. But
is:
go on.
if you could inspire everyone in this live, so I've got 34 on my side. I'm sure you've got 762 like normal, right?
200,
What would your what would your what would your word to be to them to say? Obviously, you're a converted Muslim. You turned into Muslim. You turned to Allah for help. And what would you say to them for anybody that's struggling or anything? What would you
Okay.
want for them?
So basically, right, Islam does not mean that you turn into a Pakistani. Being a Muslim does not mean you turn into an Arab. It doesn't mean you turn into a Pakistani. Right? It means submittance to the one that created you. Right. So when you become a Muslim, you don't change nationality. You don't change. You just accept that there is one creator to this world. And due to the wisdom and the mercy and the power of that creator, he sent prophets and messengers to tell us how to please him. Now, there is a line of prophets and messengers, and you're right, there are so many religions. You don't need to look into them all. If you look into the life of the Prophet Muhammad, then you will see he was a trustworthy and truthful man. And if he's a trustworthy and truthful man, and he says he's a messenger of God, then it makes sense for you to accept the teaching that he come with and become a Muslim.
100%. I rate that. I rate that. But there's other untrustworthy and truthful man in every book, right?
Well, again,
That's all I have to say.
no, but
I
bro,
want to ask you another question, but there is.
bro, see, I told you, a question always births another question, yeah?
But you know what I mean, though? Like,
No,
I'm just seeing it as a FIFA game right now. There was FIFA and there was PES, right? They were both football, but they were just two different games. So there is people that are trustworthy and truthful in different religions, right?
Look, you can be a good person, yeah? You can. Like, you can be a good person to the people, remember what I said, yeah? If you look through a window and see someone cutting someone's hand off, yeah? You're going to think that person's a brutal man. He's cutting someone's hand off. But then when you go into the room, you see the hand's gone gangrene and he's trying to save him by cut off his hand. Our perspective is very small. So when you say that someone's a good person, you're looking through this tiny little mirror. So you can't ultimately say they're a good person. You must say, you must try and gain knowledge, gain perspective, look back and gain some clarity,
Right, 100, all right. Yeah. I'll leave you to it now, brother, because your people are going to be going crazy.
Bro, I'm going to post it, yeah? Like, I appreciate the fact that you're okay with posting it. I'm only going to post it because I think it might be beneficial to anyone watching. You've asked a lot of questions. A lot of people are going to have these questions. So hopefully it means that I don't have to answer them 100 million times. But thank you for being so polite and respectful, bro. And hopefully, look, bro, if you want, I can send you some YouTube videos of some things that might answer some more questions you have. But if you have any questions or anything, feel free to DM me or jump on a live again, and we can continue this another time.
100%. Much love, brother. See you, bro. Take care.
Take care, Owen. See you later. Boy, he asked me so many questions, but had me sweating, bro. He tested my knowledge so much. Alhamdulillah, I had the answers for most of them. Mayday, you always miss it. You missed like 2 hours of it, but it was really good. I enjoyed that. Thank you, Zori. Thank you. Yeah, listen, put me on the spot. I love it. I thrive under pressure, man. Pressure makes diamonds, people. Remember that. Oh, I feel like I deserve an ice cream. I deserve ice cream, right? Actually, I'm going to get another chai instead of ice cream. Bakar mısınız? Merhaba. I miss everything. Tea with a rose on that. Listen, don't even send me nothing. I don't do it for no financial reward. If you send me something, it might lessen my reward with Allah. Don't send me no gifts for that. Simone, please, don't send me no gifts for that. I done that purely and solely for Allah, and I don't want my reward lessened. No one send me no gifts, please. Don't, Luke, don't, bro. You're taking the piss, Luke. Oh, you like taking the piss, man. That's all right, Simone. If you didn't hear it, you didn't hear it, But I didn't do that for gifts, I didn't do that for that. I done that for my Lord. I done that for Allah. I don't want no gifts for it. Well, can I get one more chai? Thank you, bro. Aziz, please stop, bro. Like, Aziz, one more, I'm gonna block you, okay? Wallahi, I will. Like, I'm being serious. When I say I don't want it, I done it for Allah. I'm serious. Don't do it. Well, may Allah bless you, but don't. It's not funny. But I really enjoyed that. That was good. It's not very often that we get someone very open-minded who wants to ask questions in a nice, polite way. It's not very often that I get the opportunity to do that. I feel very lucky that Allah blessed me with that moment. You got knowledge, you know. Come on, T, bro. That's what hours and hours and hours and hours of studying and having no girlfriends, no friends, just Islam will do. You know, this is why I say, alhamdulillah, I spend most of my time on my own, you know. People say to me, am I not lonely? And stuff like that, you know, alhamdulillah. If I had girlfriends or a wife or kids living with me the last 2.5 years, I have the knowledge I have. So maybe Allah has a plan for me. Maybe I'll never get married. Maybe this is what I'm here for, to have these conversations. Who knows? Inshallah, he becomes Muslim. Inshallah. But guys, I'm gonna upload this on my YouTubes. Okay? I'm gonna upload this on my YouTubes, guys. Maybe I'll upload it on my Instagram, guys. So go and follow them both, guys. Go. No. Honestly, don't send me no gifts because it seems like a reward for that right now. Yeah, save it for a battle. You know, we do battles all the time. You know, we'll do some battles tomorrow, saying. You know, but I don't want no worldly reward for the Islamic conversations I have. You know, just go and subscribe to my YouTubes and go and follow me on my Instagram, guys. You know. But look, Islamic quiz, Sunday, 10 p.m. Go and register to my bio. I can't believe we haven't even got 100 registrations on that, man. Go and register to the Islamic quiz. We're going to go through the basics, the fundamentals that every Muslim must know. Yeah, there'll be a few bits in there that are slightly more difficult, you know, that is a bit above what we must know. But most of it is going to be what is fard for us to know. Yeah, the bare minimum, most of it, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that T. Hold on. Big up T with the grammar and that. I'm so dyslexic. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? The sticker. Is it free? Of course it's free. Of course it's free. You think I would listen? Do you know, right, there's going to be the first 3 types of people to enter the hellfire are going to be Muslim. You know that, right? Or from the Muslims, some of them, yeah? Do you know who they're going to be? It's going to be a Hafiz. The Hafiz. Allah's going to say to him, what did you do to benefit for your Lord? He's going to say, I memorized the Quran for you. He's going to